For this semester's final presentation, I'm going to talk about my history, specifically my childhood and how I grew up. I grew up on a farm. Now, here's a picture of our farm. It's in Monette, Missouri. My family actually came over from France in the early 1870s and settled here and started the farm and never left. And the farm is actually still in the family today. My dad still runs the farm every day for 16 hours a day. Now, I wanted to gear this presentation a little bit on the business side of our farm, but mainly to tie it into the personal side of how it shaped me to be who I am today. On the business, now, this area graph shows our main commodities and how they make up our revenue as a whole. As you can see, the corn, the beef, and the dairy make up 75%, followed by the soybeans, wheat, and the rest at 5%. Now, the rest can be anything from fescue to alfalfa to even turnips. Now, these pictures on the right are actually not stock photos. These are actual pictures of our farm. So here's a little on agriculture in America. I was kind of curious on how many farms are in each state and the ranking of each state. Now, I always knew that Missouri was considered a farm state, but I actually didn't realize that we were number 2 in the nation for the number of farms, following Texas. Now, if you can look in the left-hand corner of Missouri where I put this dot here, that's actually where our farm's at. That's Monette, Missouri. Gives you a little perspective. So agriculture trends in America. One of the biggest trends in agriculture is the average farm size has been steadily increasing, even from 1950. Now, this is for 2 reasons. The main reason being that unfortunately the U.S. has seen a 62% decrease in farms since 1950. Now, another reason is that's just the nature of the beast. That's the business model you're having to use when you're farming. You have to grow. You work based on volume to survive. Now, as you can see, this green line is our farm size since 1950. We've grown quite rapidly. Now, this can be mainly attributed to my dad. Now, you can see this growth starts in the late 1980s, and that's when he took over the farm. He knew that we couldn't grow just based on acquisition anymore. We had to rent. We had to lease land, and that's actually how we got to grow so much, to today almost farming 2,000 acres. It was funny. I was home about a month ago and saw one of my dad's favorite farming magazines opened up to an article titled "Get Bigger, Get Out," playing on this exact idea. Now, I kind of tip my hat to my dad because he did this, and he's an amazing businessman. Actually, today all of our machines run off of satellite GPS, and he actually even sells all of our grain on the futures market. Now, this is more towards the management style of our farm. This is more on the dynamics. So this is a typical day when I was in high school. Now, this network shows a lot of things here. The nodes actually, the size of the nodes don't mean anything, but everything else does. The weight of the edges or the links actually show the influence level on the nodes. So as you can see, my dad has a huge influence level on everything. I have less, and the workers have less of an influence level than that. They don't really listen to each other. Now, the distance between each node actually means something too, specifically the distance from my dad. You can say he's the master node. So the closer to my dad the node is, shows that confidence level he has. So as you can see, my dad has relative confidence in me and even less confidence in the workers. So a typical day in high school would be my dad delegating to me of what the day's tasks would be, and I would delegate to the workers. But what would happen would be almost every day, my dad would come in the middle of the day, go over my head and tell the workers something different. And as you can see from the network, he has much more of an influence than I do, so they would listen to him. Now, as you can tell, that would cause a lot of tension. I think we would butt heads all the time. I think by the time I graduated high school, I had quit twice, and he had fired me 3 times. So kind of tying everything together, the main question, why am I not farming? Well, my dad actually sat me down when I was 13 and said, I don't want you to farm when you grow up. And I said, good, I don't want to. And the reason being is, for us, I believe it's the beginning of the end.